And let's have a quickly catch up on the things that we have covered so far, right? So, Kuala, can you just let me know what is the difference between the project and product?
Um, the project is basically what eventually turns into the product when you produce it for someone specifically, and when it expands for global use, then it
Okay,
becomes a product.
okay, perfect. Uh, what is the yeah, Ali? What is the difference between the web-based and window-based application?
The difference between web-based and window-based application,
Yeah.
one runs off of internet, and
Okay.
the other one is something that's already installed in your laptop or your mobile device once you get it.
Okay. Then
What was the question?
yeah, the difference between the web-based and window-based application.
Yeah, a web-based application is merely online. It requires the use of internet, and a window-based is something that does not require internet.
Okay. And from where we can use the web-based application?
You could use it from anywhere, like a Google search. You could use it from Play Store. You could use it and stuff like that.
Yeah, but we need a browser, right? We need a web
Yeah, we
browser.
need a yeah the browser.
Exactly. So then we need a browser to access the web-based application, right?
Hmm.
Uh, yeah,
Window based,
Anthony.
they're already installed
Exactly.
on your device. Like whenever whatever device that you purchase, it will already be on it.
Exactly. Like calendar and the
Yeah, like the
MS Office
calendar,
and all those things.
calculator, Microsoft Office,
Yeah, exactly.
Paint,
Anthony, can you hear me?
Notepad.
Yeah, I got you. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you. Anthony, can you just quickly let me know like the different domains we have? What are the different domains we have in the software side that we can cover as a part of applications?
You said there are different domains as far as the software side.
Yeah,
When you mean the domain applications?
yeah.
Um, I guess anything connected to healthcare, corporate, like HR,
Okay.
any type of soft domains that's connected by what's another one? I guess even what do I have?
You can refer your notes and you can answer. That's fine.
Yes, I'm trying to pull up now. But I know it's like health insurance, like Delta Dental, like any corporate HR domain.
Okay.
Um,
Okay. Uh,
I'm
Kuala,
trying to
can
think
you
of
just
it.
yeah, Kuala, can you just let us know the list of domains we have? I do not want the
Yes.
product, just list of domains, the major domains we in the US.
So healthcare, insurance companies,
Yeah.
banks,
Okay.
um, customer relations, HR.
Okay. Perfect.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
So
we also got e-commerce and CRM.
exactly, e-commerce and CRM and all those things, right? So
Hmm.
all those things, we also know who are the user of these particular different domains, right? Because this domain is very important, guys. Because when you get the interview, right, they will ask you, okay, do you have healthcare experience? Do you have insurance experience? Do you have e-commerce application experience, right? Because people wants why the domain is necessary. Because when you test something, right, if you know the background of the things, how the thing is going to be work, right? Few domains are very common like the healthcare, insurance, banking, and e-commerce, right? That we know normally aware. We buy this stuff online, we sell this stuff online, so we know what how the e-commerce is going to be work. We go with the hospitals for the day for the checkups and all those things, so we know how the healthcare is work, right? So all those things they want to make sure you are fully aware how the end-to-end functionality work in the healthcare and all those things. Because once you have that understanding, it will be easy for you to understand the software. And that's the reason people always ask, okay, in which domain you have the expertise, right? Each and every company will have the domains for their working model, right? If you just say Amazon, it's an e-commerce domain company, right? Even though it's a big one, but they work on the e-commerce. selling and buying product online. Then we can just say HSBC, right? So HSBC is the one is the kind of bank. It is a banking domain, right? Then we have Liberty Mutual Finance, right? So they are the finance company. So they work on the finance terms and all those things. They provide the insurance to the people on uh, different things like the car, home, mortgage, and all those things. So each and every company will have the domain, and that's the reason domain is very important. Okay. Now, how we develop the application that we discussed, right? So, Khala, you can see on my screen, I have also put the screenshot, but can you just describe us in the detailed way how we can develop the software or how the application get developed?
How the application gets developed.
Yeah.
So basically, what's on the screen, there's the 4 steps. There's a designer that uses HTML, CSS3, JavaScript, and jQuery to
Uh-huh.
design the application. Then there's a
Okay.
developer or programmer
Mm-hmm.
that uses Java, Python, other things to
Mm-hmm.
develop the application. Then it gets tested by the software tester, either manual or automation, and then the cloud engineer deploys the application.
Exactly. But if you see on this screen, right, these four steps are useless if you are not aware about the main steps, which is a requirement, right? Because
Mm-hmm.
requirement is everything, right? If you want to purchase a mobile phone, right? If you want to purchase a mobile phone, even though for your purchasing a mobile phone you have the requirement, I need this GB, I need this RAM, I need this display, I need this camera, right? All those
I'm
things is
sorry,
your,
aren't these 4 steps the requirements? Isn't that what you said last time?
sorry.
Aren't these 4 steps the requirements, or did I
No, no, no,
misunderstand?
no, 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 no. The requirement is the first thing. First, once we clear the requirement, then and then we can start designing, then we can develop, then we can test, and then we can deploy. You got my point?
So
Okay,
what
gotcha.
basically Ankit is trying to say is before it comes to a designer, he needs to know what he needs to design. So we get
Exactly.
all the requirements first, like the file, we'll get that first from our project manager or the business analyst. And then after that, we could go ahead and design and program, test, and then engineer. But before we do any of that, they need a platform, something to work on. So I believe that's what he was trying to say.
Okay.
Exactly, exactly. So let's give the a real-time scenario. Suppose if you want to buy a mobile, right? So before even we buy the mobile, we have some requirement in our mind. Okay, I need this GB mobile, I need this display, I need camera to be this megapixel, right? And once we have that requirement, then we go to shop or we go online and search for our preferable mobile, right? And once that mobile will have everything that we want, then and there we can buy the mobile. You got my point? So
Mm-hmm.
initially what we have the requirement. This is my requirement. If I need TV, I need 56-inch TV, right? So that is my primary requirement. If the TV is 42-inch, that is I am not going to buy it because my requirement is 56-inch TV. You got my point?
Mm-hmm.
Everything will have the requirement. You got my point? This is how the things work. We choose our requirement and we see, okay, this particular product is matching our requirement, then we go and buy. You got my point? So as you can see on my screen, right, that's the reason I focus on requirement three times: requirement, requirement, requirement. Because even though if designer wants to start their work, right, they should have clear requirement in their mind, what they need to design, how they need to design, right? They know how
Mm-hmm.
to design, but what to design they don't know. So for that they need to refer the requirement document. Now the developer is on the same thing. Developer know how to develop, they know the programming skills, they know the Java, C Sharp and all those things, but what to develop they do not know. So once they read the requirement document, they understand, okay, this is what I need to develop. Then the same thing for the software tester. They do not know what to test because they know how to test, but they are not aware what to test. So for that again they refer the requirement document and they came to know, okay, this is what I need to test, right? And same goes with the deployment engineer, like the cloud engineer, right? Once they have the requirement, okay, this is a window based application, web based application, or server based application, something like that, then and they can purchase the hosting service and they can start the deployment, right? So everything in this phase will work on the requirement. You got my point?
Mm-hmm.
Anthony, are you clear?
Yeah, got you.
Yeah, can you explain the same thing quickly?
The same thing as far as well, the requirements are necessary to before anything is being developed into a product, uh, or being handed over to the project manager or business analyst,
Yeah.
to go to the designer. The designer knows how to design, but he still needs those requirements before he starts designing, and et
Okay.
cetera. As far as the developer, he needs those same requirements before he starts developing, along with the tester and the cloud engineer. And to,
Exactly.
to get to the product, you need all of this, and requirements is basically the beginning of what that product was going to be.
Okay, perfect. Yeah. So this is something you need to understand about the how the application get developed in the IT industry in the software company, right? Now I know this need to be bit more polished because this is the basic, guys. This is a ground level information, and you should be aware when you work as a IT company, right? You should be aware these things. Even though developer, designer, tester, cloud engineer, be a person, they all know about this process, how this process is going to be worked. And this is the next steps that we are going to learn today, right? What is SDLC, right? Because this terminology will be there in your resume, guys. You got my point? In your
Mm-hmm.
resume we will mention, okay, I have the good exposure on SDLC. So you should be aware about those things. What is SDLC? SDLC, that means software development life cycle. You got my point? I will give you this PPT for your reference. It will be easy for you to remember, but always try to catch the concept with the practical example. Okay. So let me just open my MS Paint and I will show you what is SDLC. You can see my screen, right, guys?
Mm-hmm.
Right. So now what is SDLC? So let's start from over here. Customer wants to develop application, right? This is the things. And what is the company's goal? If you're working in IT company, right? So company company wants to develop application for customer. This is the end goal, right? If you're working in IT company, right? So you wait for the customer. Okay, if customer will come, then I need to develop the application for the customer. This is the things normally work. So customer wants to develop the application. This is the customer goals. He need the application based on his requirement. And what is the company's goal? To help the customer to develop the application based on their requirement, right? So this is, guys, this is one, I will just say this is stage one, and this will be the just hold on, let me just make it a little bit small in so it can be fit in one screen. Why I'm focusing on this concept, guys? This is very important concept, to be honest. You have to have understanding of these things. This is how the IT work. This is how the software company mainly works. So that's the reason, right? So suppose we have customer wants application developed, right? And over here, company, we will have company to develop the application. Company to develop the application for the customer, right? So this is the first things. Let's suppose in January, right? We will start with the calendar. In January 2020, customer come up with the requirement. Customer says, okay, this is XYZ company and I want one application for my business like Amazon.com. Let's we take the example of Amazon.com, right? So this is first steps, guys. Sorry, first steps, and this is last steps where we will give the customer its requirement. So now customer says, let's suppose I am as a customer, right? And Khala is a project manager, and then Anthony is also a business analyst person, and Ali, you are the developer, right? Your role will be get changed: developer, designer, tester, and cloud engineer. So now I'm coming with, okay, I need some application similar to Amazon.com because I want to start e-commerce business, right? So what the business analyst person and project manager will do, they will understand the requirement first from me. You got my point? So Khala says, okay, you need Amazon.com like a website. So these are the list of features, right? You should be able to list your product on the marketplace, people able to buy your product, you will get the online payment in your bank, right? This is how your refund policy will be work, this is how your refund process will be work. So everything she will make me to understand, okay, this is what you exactly want. Then the Anthony as a BA person, he also come up with, okay, for Amazon you can see the different e-commerce website. So we have eBay, we have Flipkart and other things, right? So he also suggest me, okay, we can also add this kind of feature in your website as well. This is not available in Amazon, but it is available on eBay, right? So this is how they do the requirement analysis, right? So for 1 week they do the requirement analysis and they prepare one document and send to me as a customer, right? So I will go to that document and if I found, okay, this is what I want, then I will just say them, okay, let's finalize this requirement and start working on that things, right? So that is the first steps, guys. What is the steps? Requirement analysis. Okay, so over here I'm just going to put the same thing for your reference. Requirement analysis, right? This is the first steps, requirement analysis. Now who gonna do these things? Koala, who
Mm,
will do the requirement analysis?
the project manager?
Exactly. So the project manager and BA person, business analyst, right? Guys,
Okay.
now I will use this terminology PM and BA, right? You should be aware. If you are confused, you can just ask me what is BM and PA, right? So PM is project manager and business analyst. So these two guys work together closely with the customer, right? And they will have requirement finalized from customer, right? And they will take a sign off from the customer before starting the work. See, this is very why requirement is very crucial. Let me give you one example. If I just says I need something like this way, right, and without doing the proper requirement analysis, if you start developing, your designer start designing the website, your developer start program, and after 1 month if you just come up with me with the demo, okay Ankit, this is what we have designed for your demo, and I just says, okay, no, this is something not I want something different, right? So that is a waste of time from both the side. Your design, your team, your development team is also waste the time because they are not clear about the requirement, and me as a customer, me as well, because this is something I do not want to develop. I have something other things in my mind. So that gap we need to finalize at the initial stage, and that's the reason requirement analysis is very crucial for anything. Okay, if somebody asks you, right, okay, you are a software tester, so from where you get the idea what you need to test? So you can just say I refer the requirement document to get the idea what I need to test, right? And those document is signed up from the customer. Now customer is also sign up that document, so they cannot say after 3 months, right, they cannot say, okay, this is something not we want, because they already finalized, they already sign up with the company, this is what they want. So this is a win-win situation for both the side. Now we will do the many back and forth with customer to confirm the requirement, and we do the analysis on different website as well. So suppose if it is an e-commerce website, right, we refer 3 to 4 e-commerce website. If it is a healthcare application, we refer 3 4 healthcare application as well. So this is how you compare the product. You try to give your customer the best one, right? And for that, BA and PM and all those people work, and they suggest a few latest feature in the market. They suggest that one as well. Okay, why don't you use this one? This will give you the extra advantage for your customer to access your application. Then customer says, yeah, this is something good, you can include in our requirement. So this is how we do many back and forth with the customer, and then we finalize the document, right? And that document is, I will just say, is the the main useful guide for everybody in the software team, and that is called SRS, right? Software requirement specifications document, guys. Always remember, this is also the one of the crucial terminology. What is SRS, right? Software requirement document specification. Then sometimes people says BRD, right? Business requirement document. You got my point. These are the two documents that BA and PM work together and finalize with the customer, guys. So now everybody in the team, before they do before they start their work, they will refer this document, and this is a very long kind of document. It will have around 100 or 200 pages, right, where everything is covered, what they need to do and what they need to do. So that's the reason requirement analysis is very crucial, guys, right? And software requirement specification document and business requirement documents are very crucial. You got my point, guys? Any confusion on the requirement analysis?
No.
Always understand, if somebody asks you to explain something, first give the theory understanding, this is what the definition is, and always keep one practical example in your mind how you need to explain the guys, because we are human, we understand the example in the fastest way rather than the definition of the things, right? If you give the example, people understand quickly, and this is what you need to do in the interview as well. If interviewer asks something, right, you should be aware about the theory part and one practical example for him. Okay, when person can give the practical example, because it has he has the detailed understanding of the concept. Once you have that understanding, then and then you can think about the example, you can think, you can relate that particular things to your real time example. Okay, so that is the requirement analysis. Now suppose everything is fine, everything is done, right? We know what we need to develop, what we need to design, and what our customer wants. So everybody in the team are confident enough, right? So now the next steps is coming, the designing, right? The UI part. Let me just give you the one things, right? So see, this is okay. I will open any application, right? Let's suppose I open this application, right? This is the application, right? So now first, before this application will have the requirement from the customer, I need the travel website, something like that, right? Once the requirement is finalized, they design, you see, these are the designing steps, what we can see on our screen, that is called designing, guys, right? And for this designing we use HTML, CSS, Bootstrap, JavaScript, jQuery, right, to make it very fluent and uh, user friendly for our user. So this is all the designing, this button they have put, this drop down they have put, right, this language bar they have put, this currency they have put, right, the flight options, boat options, rental, and everything they have designed. This is the designing part, guys. What you can see on your eyes on your screen, that is the designing, right? So now what is happening? Designer, right? Designer will come into the picture and they will start the designing of the application. So that is called designing phase. I will just name as designing phase, right? This is called the designing phase. Now what is happening in the designing phase, guys? They are designing your UI part, right? UI means user interface. So they are designing UI part, right? Means user interface, or sometimes this is GUI, GUI, right? That means graphic user interface, right? That means what you can see on your screen, right? What you can see on your screen, that is called UI part, right? And this is what is the deliverable for this one. It has the list of files, designing files with extension .html or HTM, right? So these are the designing file, guys. These are the designing page they developed. Let me just make it something like that way you can understand. Okay.
Coding?
Sorry.
Is that like coding?
Yeah, you can consider as coding, but this is not the programmer things. This is something you can use for the HTML and all those things, right?
Okay.
So now, who will do these things? Anthony, who will do these things? Who are the responsible person to do the designing?
You said who's the person doing the design?
Exactly.
Uh, what is it? The graphic design.
Yeah, it's a web designer, right? Web
Yeah.
or UI designer. It's just terminology. Sometimes people says web designer, or sometimes people says only designer, or sometimes this is UI designer, right? So
Okay.
designer will come into the picture and they will design the specs. Now what things they will use for the designing? Khola, what things they use to design the web page? I will just hello.
Okay.
Yeah, Khola, can you hear me?
Yeah, so the user interface.
Yeah, user interface. What tools and technology they gonna use to do these things?
I do not remember the word that was in my notes.
Okay,
And
so
It
will they
was
use?
Java.
yeah, Ali, you are going to speak something.
No, no. I think she got it.
I
Okay,
remember Java and
no,
PHP, Python.
that is the
No, that's for
programming.
the that's that's so for this you use HTML,
Yeah, HTML,
CSS3,
CSS,
JavaScript, and jQuery.
JavaScript, and jQuery. Yeah, perfect. Right. So this is the things you use for the designing purpose. You got my point?
Gotcha.
Yeah. This is why I want you to just because this is very
Oh, I
small
said
things.
the ones for the development.
Exactly. This is we are still in
Okay.
the designing phase, right? Because first is requirement analysis, second is designing phase. Because once it is developed, right? Let me give you the example. Once this screen is developed, then developer came to know, okay, what functionality they need to write in the coding when people click on this button. Suppose if I click on buy now, right? Then this all those things, how it's gonna be work, the business logic. This is what developer go and design. You got my point?
Mhm.
Yeah. So now once this is done, designing phase is done, right, guys? What the next steps? Development. We can also consider as a programming, right? So I will just say is okay over here, development phase, guys. So they gonna yeah, I know we gonna show your experience as an experienced person, right? Because based on your study and all those things, but this is very useful. This is very useful, the development phase and all those things, right? How what is a different phase of the SDLC? So you need to explain like this way: requirement analysis, designing, development, testing, and deployment. So now we are on the design development phase, right? So what developer will do? Developer will develop the coding file, right? The coding file, the actual business logic file, right? So they will write the coding files, right? It contains the business logic, right? It contains the business logic in the programming way, right? This is what developer will do, right? And what is the like they use the different programming language. So who gonna do this development phase? Anthony, again to you. Who gonna do these things, development phase?
Yeah. The developers.
Always keep your notes with you. This is open book exam, guys, right? I
Yeah, I
want to
know.
just make sure you understand the concept.
I know.
So basically, what she was referring to earlier, cola, like that's basically what you have to say.
Exactly.
But he said who though? That's what's being used,
Yeah,
right? So
Exactly.
Yeah. So
Java,
so
Python.
yeah, exactly.
Okay, no worries. Anthony, over here we have the developer, You can just developer or programmer, right? You can use both the terms. They both refer the same people. They sometimes people says programmer, sometimes people says developer, but they will come into the picture and they handle the development phase, right? Now what they will use, Khola, you told me, right? Java, C
Yeah,
Sharp,
Java,
Python,
Python,
right? These are
PHP,
Right.
so what is this? What is these things?
the
This is the
programs they're gonna use.
this is the programming language, right? This is called programming language. Programming language that programmer use. You got my point?
Mm-hmm.
This is a programming language that programmer will use to develop the application. Okay? So requirement analysis, designing, development, right? Now we gonna jump into the phase where we gonna come into the picture, the software tester. You got my point?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So software tester is going to be work on the few things. So let me show you. The next step is that testing phase, right? It's gonna be testing phase. Now, who gonna work on this testing phase?
The tester.
Exactly, the tester, right? So the tester is going to be work on the testing phase, software tester, right? And what they're gonna develop? They develop the test cases, test plan, right? These are the document we will learn. This is a part of our training program. We will learn in detail what is test case and how you can design the test plan, right? I will give you the detailed understanding. But as of now, just understand in the testing phase, the tester will create the test cases and test plan. And who is the responsible person over here? Software tester, right? So if they are a manual or automation tester, but they will work on this phase, right? And what tools and technology they're gonna use? Suppose, let me just give you an example. Uh, mm, 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 mm. Okay, let me just go to the Google and I will just search one things for you. Uh, test cases example, right? So this is what software tester is going to be work. Let me just show you quickly. Yeah, you see on my screen, they're gonna design these tips. They're gonna design these images, the test cases, right? When they're gonna work on the application. Let me just open. Yeah, you see on this screen, they're gonna design a document like this way, and we all gonna work on these things. And you need to do this practical as well. But it will take two to four sessions to come on this level. But I'm just giving you the example of the test cases. Okay, so this is what the tester will design in the testing phase, right? And for that they can use the excel that we normally use for the manual tester. If it is automation tester, then selenium or qtp, all those things. Okay, for manual tester they mostly use the excel to write their test cases and all those things. And for the automation they use selenium, qtp or other automation tool to manage the testing phase, right? So guys, these are the four very crucial points, guys. Once you design, once you finalize the requirement, you do the designing, you do the development, and whatever you have developed, you go on through with the testing phase, right? To make sure it get tested successfully, right? So let's do one thing, guys. Let's reconnect to this meeting because I know it's gonna be a disconnect automatically. So let's reconnect straight away. I am just going to send you the new link. Just reconnect on those things, okay? So I will save this recording for you.